Let's talk about Joel Webbon. I don't know if you know this guy, but he's basically like, he's a very famous pastor. He's a white nationalist and a neo-Nazi. Just listen to some of the things that he said recently.
Well, who are the victims currently in our American context? Well, I'll tell you, and I won't mince words. The actual victims in our American context today are heritage Americans.
Heritage Americans. What do you think that means? He's going to tell you.
If you are a man, if you are a Christian man, if you are a non-sodomite, gay, furry man, and if you are a white man, then you are objectively on the books, be it Ivy League schools, or be it the hiring processes of Fortune 500 companies, or be it certain tax brackets, or be it just the general cultural milieu, or even among the perception of your local elders at your local church. If you are a young, white, single, straight man, you are, in the year of our Lord 2025, here in these United States, a legitimate victim.
My God, dude, like the victim complex is wild with these people. How do you think these people are victims exactly? How are these people victims? The fact is, they're not. And he's using this as a method to justify victimizing others. He's using this as a method to justify his own hate and vile attitudes. And if you're not on board with that yet, just wait, I'll prove it. Listen to some of the vile, disgusting that he has to say here. Check this out.
Women are atrocious today.
He's the victim, you see.
They are immodest. They're hoes. They're dumb, like literally intellectually unintelligent. They are shallow. They are deceitful. They are wicked. They are vile.
Women, full stop. Women are vile. What was it he said? Women are hoes, are stupid, are just unintelligent. What is wrong with this person, dude?
They vote for pennies. I'm not making it up. It is a 45, objectively, 45-point difference.
What is a 45-point difference?
Between young men and young women today.
What's he talking about? Is he talking about voting? I think that's what he means. 45-point difference between who votes for Trump and who doesn't?
That's where we're at. 45-point difference. Women are radical progressives.
And that justifies the hateful garbage that comes out of his mouth about women. This is just disgusting, dude. To call women dumb like this, and trans people, constant hate, nothing but hateful, vile trash from this dude. Here's another video from him.
I'm not saying it's easy to find out the actual history, but I'm saying all these young men who red-pilled in 2020, it is fairly easy, though, for them to look at history and find out that we had 1,500 years of Christendom. And then for the last 80 years, since World War II, we allegedly won, right? And yet all of the West looks like it lost. Since then, we've murdered 70 million...
Wait, I'm sorry, wait a second. We won World War II, but it looks like we lost? What does he mean by that?
Lost. Since then, we've murdered 70 million children in the womb, just in the United States.
Yep.
And this is garbage, dude. Embryos, literal single-celled organisms, are not children. I'm sorry. Aside from that, people have the right to make choices for their own bodies. Full stop. There's an interesting analogy that I heard not too long ago. Imagine somebody is breaking into your house in the middle of the night and they're taking half of your food. Are you within your rights to just lock your door at night? Even if it means that person is going to die, are you within your rights to lock the door so that they can't break in and take your food? The answer is yes, with no consequence. You are allowed to do that. That is a perfect analogy to pregnancy, especially in the earliest weeks, say 5 to 8 weeks. You can withdraw your resources and be completely within moral bounds. This abortion hate was weaponized by the far right, by Christianity primarily, over the past 50 years, since the 70s or the 80s. It really started getting bad. The right saw this issue and knew that they could get people whipped into an emotional blood frenzy over this, and they did, at any cost. Literally getting people so infuriated over this issue that is clear as day, moral, unless you look at it from some warped, skewed perspective. They got them whipped into a blood frenzy so much that they'd be willing to murder people, and that is exactly what has happened. Bill O'Reilly, for example, on Fox News, I think in the 2000s, got a guy murdered, Dr. Tiller. He was a doctor that I think worked at Planned Parenthood, maybe. Walked out of his church one day to the parking lot. Somebody pulls out a gun and shoots him. He called him Tiller the baby killer. Stochastic terrorism. That's all these people understand. These people being Joe Webbon and other far-right extremist nutcases like him. But okay, he's warping this completely out of perspective intentionally. And for the record, if that doesn't grab you, how about this? Numbers 5:11-23 specifically, explicitly instructs people to get an abortion under certain circumstances. Like if your wife cheats on you, you should get an abortion. It explains how to get an abortion. To go to the priest, he'll give her this concoction called bitter water, and it will abort the baby. It will abort the pregnancy if she cheated on you. So don't tell me this is a biblical position. It's not. The Bible says you should get an abortion in some circumstances. This is an emotional position that was fabricated by Republicans to garner support for their cause. That's it.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
And we're cutting off the genitals of little kids.
Literally nobody is doing that. That is not happening. This is completely fabricated in your own head. Nobody stands for this. Nobody is doing this. Nobody wants this. And they're using it as a weapon against people again. When are people going to realize that Republicans have nothing good to offer? When are people going to realize that when Republicans run a government, they drive it straight into the fucking ground? Are they ever going to realize that? Is that ever going to connect? Republicans have been in control of the U.S. government since 2025. Now, where did that get you? Is your life materially better today than it was in 2024? The answer is no for the vast majority of people in the U.S., but they keep voting for him.
And we are flooding our nations and diluting the cultures and the heritages. And
he's saying we have people of other races, quote unquote, and that bothers him. He wants only white people in the United States. That's the complaint here.
And
with foreign immigrants
tearing down statues, and we're selling cathedrals and turning them to mosques.
So you're
literally nobody is tearing down churches and building mosques.
Telling me we won. It doesn't feel like it.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like we won.
I'm not sure what he means by that exactly, but I feel like what he means is maybe Germany should have won in World War II. Is that what he's saying? He's just an evil human being. Check these ones out, these videos from him.
We currently live at a wicked time with wicked rulers who are dominated by feminism and hate men. And so they change.
What feminists hate men? I'm sorry, I just cannot accept this. Are there some weird little nutcases out there who do? Probably. I've literally never met one in my entire fucking life. What are you smoking that you think feminists are out here talking about how they hate men and hope they die or something? You know, I'm honestly surprised that this false narrative of feminists are aborting their male pregnancies. I'm surprised that hasn't taken root. I mean, it's nonsense. That's not happening. That was never happening. But I'm surprised that these people haven't gone with that one yet, with that bullshit line.
The rule book. So what you're doing is not exercising your authority over men. But what we're doing is having to get creative with the wicked landscape, and you're ensuring that I have my full authority as a citizen, and that my authority. What the wicked rulers wanted to do is they wanted to strip away half of a man's authority, and what you're doing is you're conceding it back to me by voting in line with the decision that I make for our family. So
wow, dude. So wicked feminists stripped half of the man's authority away by allowing women to vote. This guy is about as low as they come. Check this one out.
The Christian ministers who are looking you in the eye right now and saying these disparities don't exist, every young man in the world can pick up their phone and in 15 seconds can see that the average IQ in Haiti is 67.
Right.
And any Christian minister who denies that will not have any credibility.
Right. This is God, this is the old race and IQ argument. He is a race realist, apparently. Let me let you in on a little secret. Race isn't real. It's pseudoscience. It's a pseudoscientific, like nonsensical concept from the 1800s, primarily. Before that, there were people who believed that their ethnicity was superior. You know, the Greeks had words for non-Greeks. It was barbarians. So they're around. It was around for a while that there were superior groups of people, but race ideology has been around since the 1700s or so. And it was invented to justify slavery and things like that. Just superiority. It's just as pseudoscientific as, I don't know, flat earth ideology. Race is not real. There are people who have genetic markers from certain ethnicities, like, I don't know, I think I'm, some percent Scottish and some percent, Wales. My mom, I think her family's from Wales, and I have some Native American and things like that. Those are ethnicities that you can trace in a DNA test. But race existed before DNA tests, before DNA even existed as a concept. There is no race. It's fake. It was always fake. And it's been used throughout history to justify superiority complexes. Now, what he said here, the average IQ in Haiti is 67. Maybe, that's possible. I think the average IQ in India is 72. You know why? Because the rural areas with a lack of proper sanitation, a lack of education, of resources generally, those areas kind of out, like they average out, they drag down the average or whatever. But if you pluck an Indian as a baby at 0 weeks old, you pluck him out of India or Haiti, you put him in a family in a developed country with lots of resources, rich family, send them through school and everything, their IQ will be just as high as anybody else's in their community. IQ is an imperfect measurement. It's supposed to be an unbiased measurement that is independent of culture or whatever else, but it's just not. It just doesn't work that way. It's really a great measuring tool for what it's for, but he's misusing it and he's putting more weight in IQ than anybody ever should. If people have fewer resources, fewer education opportunities, their IQ just isn't going to be as high. That's just what it is. But instead of attributing it to the real problem, which is authoritarian governments, extremist groups destabilizing society in their region, a lack of resources and things like that, instead of attributing it to what it should be attributed to, those things, he's attributing it to race. This pseudoscientific bullshit idea of race that doesn't exist because he's racist. This is the definition of racist. Somebody that believes that race is real and you can measure someone's intelligence based on their race. Sign up for my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that very much. It would mean so much to me. This is like a really precarious moment in history, in US history, and for me personally. So it would mean a lot if you sign up for my Patreon. Check out cultarchive.org. I did a cult test, basically, where you can see if you're in a cult. And you can look at the historical tests of other groups that already went through this. Also, check out my merch. I have a whole bunch of really cool shirts and stuff. Really interesting. I would really appreciate that.
They won't. Credibility, but it is a sin to God as
because you're a liar.
Manifested reality.
You're a liar.
It's not true.
You cannot be a minister of the gospel and be a public liar.
Right.
You're disqualified from ministry from lying. You can't be a liar and be a minister of the gospel.
He is a vile human being, dude. That's just the tip of the iceberg with Joel Webbon. I have so much stuff. Here you go. Here's one of the more psychotic ones. This guy really does not like women. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know who hurt him along the way, but he's got a serious issue with women, dude.
And if that were to occur, and the just penalties were to be enforced, you, the false accuser, is now put to death, and that's a public death. It's a public sentence, publicly carried out. Then the citizens of these United States of America, you know what they would do? Hashtag Me Too would end real fast.
So if you executed some people who had some false accusations, or that you believed had false accusations, even if they weren't actually false, or if they couldn't be fully verified because we're talking, you reported it 5 years later or something. If you execute those people, the Me Too movement won't happen. And that's his goal. He doesn't want the Me Too movement to happen, apparently. That is absolutely wild to me.
How do you false accusing? Playing the victim when you're actually not?
Yeah, that's bad. Do you know what the percentage is? Roughly, what is it? Hang on, I got to get it right. I don't want to shoot from the hip here. It's hard to know exactly for sure, but it's estimated to be between 2 and 8%. Rates can vary depending on the study, the criteria used for false in the specific context, with higher rates sometimes found in cases involving child abuse allegations or custody disputes. So the rate is roughly the same as the percentage of people who believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. It doesn't happen very often, is the point. It's very uncommon. And when it does happen, send them to jail. I'm all in. Send them to jail. Charge them. I love it. Yes, make them face accountability for that. He's talking about executing them publicly. Even people who aren't for sure filing false allegations, just can't be 100% verified. They should be executed. That's f***ing psychotic. You know what that's going to do to real victims, right? You know that's going to scare the shit out of people, and they're going to live in fear of being taken advantage of at any moment, and they're going to live in fear of reporting that. Is that the goal? I don't understand what the goal is here. What are you trying to do? The rate is so incredibly low anyway. We can deal with it without literally executing people. What is wrong with you? This guy is one of the most vile people on planet Earth. Seriously, I don't say that lightly. He is vile. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. He's just awful.